Wait, was I not even... I wasn't even recording.
Oh, that's so Gemini.
Yeah. So, who else here had a fucked up time during that last Mercury retrograde? Because, it had a field day with me. I have Mercury in Gemini. And, usually every time Mercury is in retrograde, something major happens to me. And I never took it seriously until this last one. So I started looking up on the ephemeris, I think that's how you pronounce it, and it looked to me as though every single time Mercury was retrograde and I was having a Uranus transit, that some major change would happen. And it had to do with where I lived. And this last one also had some things involved with that, but I didn't get kicked out of this place because, well, anywho, I mean, I looked at the ephemeris, and every single time that a major change had happened in the past, years, maybe 6 years, 7 years, major changes having to do with where I lived took place during the Mercury retrograde. I would mess something up. I have a Uranus opposing Mercury in my chart. So I was also under difficult Uranus transits. I feel like Uranus and Mercury amplify each other. And do you remember the time when Mercury was retrograde and Uranus was conjunct it? I feel like that was a pivotal point in the Mercury retrograde. And then on top of that, when Saturn squared Mercury retrograde, that was also very challenging. I don't know if anybody else saw that. I mean, I'd love to hear your experiences with that Mercury retrograde, because I felt like it was insanity. Oh, for me at least, I felt that it was insanity. I don't know about you guys. Some of you maybe aren't really as affected by Mercury as I am. But my 8th house, Mercury in Gemini, Mercury was having a lot of fun with me. It was scary, actually. And that's when I really started that last Mercury retrograde made me think more about Mercury retrograde and actually notice what to actually be aware of next time Mercury goes retrograde. And does anybody know when the next Mercury retrograde is? I'd love to know. But I'll probably look it up on the ephemeris. I look up the ephemeris. I look at it every year. I look at it before in the years before the year actually happens, and I get kind of freaked out, of course, because I'm always going through hard transits. It seems like. There's usually at least one transit I'm having that is major. There was Pluto opposing my sun. There was Uranus squaring my sun. There was that Mercury retrograde. But that was for everyone. A lot of my friends were in the hospital during that. A lot of my friends were suffering. And I was too. And I even hospitalized myself during the Mercury retrograde. But not hospitalized. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. Anyways, yeah, I've had some major transits in the past 3 years, 4 years, but 4 years ago was fine until the transits really started hitting me hard. Uranus square Sun, that was a really tough time. My Saturn return. Actually, to say the least, my Saturn return didn't do much of anything. I think because I have a day chart, so Saturn isn't so nightmarish for me. However, Saturn is still Saturn. Whether or not you have a day chart or a night chart, Saturn still can kick your ass. But the thing about day charts is, when Saturn kicks your ass, you go, okay, I'm gonna work with it. But with night charts, you're like, Saturn, you're torturing me right now. Why are you doing this? But ever since Saturn has entered Capricorn, I felt more like, More like, wow, this lesson is very clear and very in my face, which is great, but it sucks. It's depressing. Saturn rules Saturn is extremely depressing. And I made a persona when I was just laughing about everything. And I have a persona, and I called her Vanessa Depressa because I've been so depressed and thinking everything is crap. And I thought I'd make it into a persona, because I'm not always like this. But enough about me. I don't even know why I talk about myself so much. God, so depressing. Anyways, how was that Mercury retrograde for you guys? I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments. Some crazy stories. Please, give me your crazy stories. Like, why am I the only one posting their crazy stories in astrology videos? I'd love to hear more. And then I'll comment back with some of my own, or I don't know. Let's just see how this goes. Anyway, bye, YouTube.